And welcome to. Wait, is the stream start?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay.
We're live.
We're
Welcome,
live.
everybody. Yeah. Welcome to Grandshelt Nights. We're just a group of guys talking about Final Fantasy Brave Exvius from Square Enix. And we just basically go do some in-depth breakdowns, explanations, overviews, opinions, and reviews, and we pick apart the best and worst in the game and what to expect for every type of player. Today we just have three of us here. We have Awesome,
Hello.
we have Kuja,
Hello.
and we have me hosting Xer0. And we have actually quite a bit of news this week because we have a huge app update, which we're gonna discuss probably first, since I think a lot of the players are gonna be experiencing this new update and what it's gonna bring. Then we're gonna get into the weekly FFB news, and then maybe any other miscellaneous stuff. All right. So first of all, let's talk about the new app update. Let's go with the new features that we're gonna be getting. All right. The first thing that we're gonna be getting. Let's start with the one that I think everybody's been hoping for first. The
Yeah.
trust coin system and the mixer system, as well as the enhancement tabs. All right.
Yep.
What do you what can you explain first of all, Kuja, what it is, and then we can share our opinions on it.
Yep. Okay. So the enhancement tab, we'll start with that. Basically, it's going to split your inventory into two sections: your units and then your enhancement units. I guess you would call them. That's like your cactars, your attack pots, your moogles. That all gets separated out into its own inventory box. It's 1,500 slots. So good luck filling that. It's gonna take a while. Basically, it's a quality of life change that makes it so that instead of having to look and be like, oh my god, I have two slots left. What do I gotta do? I gotta sell something, or do I buy more slots, or do I fuse a bunch of cactars together? What do I do? What do I do? Now you don't have to do that. All the crap gets put into the enhancement box, and you're left with all your units. So you're going to have a bunch of extra space left over. It's an extremely good update, in my opinion.
I think it's amazing. I had a lot of crap to get rid of. I'm pretty sure some people have a lot more than others. um,
My only real complaint is the fact that they didn't do the full jump like JP is at currently, where there's 3 tabs. So you have the unit tab, the enhancement tab, and then the third tab was a mixture of the two. So it'd be easier to determine who has Moogles and who doesn't, or some other features like that.
Yeah.
It was a really good update in JP when it came out. I wish they would have just brought it straight here instead of passing on it.
Yep. I do recall playing JP at that point in time when that update came in, and it did come in with a bunch of other little tweaks as well. So hopefully in the near future we get stuff like that. I do remember that we did have um, like the ability to save a party, I think, and also there was like a rank for your party, like a number rank for your party and stuff. So hopefully we get those kind of things in the
Yeah,
near future.
that'll come later. I mean, in another app update.
Yeah, but the fact that we do have that separation is pretty amazing. You know, um, what's the other thing that we had was
The mixer
the
system.
the mixer system itself. Right now,
Yep.
I think
That's
everybody's
also.
been waiting for that for quite a while.
Yep.
Right?
I think it's also a very good system. You get to trade in your 100% trust mastered units for mixer coins. Um, the rewards in there now is a Moogle Prism, which is a blank Moogle container basically, where you can throw any one of those 5% Moogles of whatever trust mastery you want into the container, and then you can max that container out and you'll get that trust mastery. So basically, if you want a trust mastery, you don't have the unit, you can get it.
The one thing I agree with Howell on this is why did they name it Prism?
But and you would think that's amazing. The only thing is it's worth they have it worth 10k coins, which makes it a little bit less than amazing because of the fact that, you know, your coins are a finite resource, and depending on how much you either TM farm or don't, the amount of coins you can have varies.
Yeah.
So I would stay away from that in particular.
The only reason I would ever think about going for a container like that is if it's something that's going to drastically help your party. Like if you're newer to the game but you do a lot of TM farming and you happen to get the 10,000, I could see you going for it for an evasion tank, but other than that, it's really hard to say go for it just because of the fact that it's too expensive.
Yep.
Yeah, it's way too expensive, mainly because of the fact that most trust masteries get power crept anyway. So even if it might be useful to you now, the value's not there in the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you could say that about the limited time units as well when if they decide to bring them out. I hope they do.
Yeah. Well, they said they are. I mean, they did. They straight out said that they were going to do it. Aren't doing it now, mainly because in Japan, they come out 6 months after the banners have shown up. At this point, Global currently is not 6 months out from their first collab, which was Deus Ex. Now, when they're going to bring that out, who knows? Global could delay it like they delay a lot of shit. But again, they did say that they are going to bring it out. I mean, again, people complaining about not having it now also could push them to, start that earlier. In a lot of the things that I saw were people expecting to have the whole mixer system, like have all the limited prisms in there from the beginning. That's just not how it goes. I mean, in JP, most of the units when they came into the mixer system have been long power crept. So if you like a unit, sure, it's fine. Because, if you want to get you like Dragon Lord a lot, you can get your Dragon Lord if you have one. You can get him 7-star and you can use him if you want. But again, by the time the crystal is in the mixer system, he's already been power crept. And at that point, the unit's kind of not useless, but they've lost their luster.
Yep.
The other things, mainly, I would stay away from all of the rewards that are in there at the moment and wait for the limited prisms to show up. The UOCs seem like they would be a good deal, kind of. But again, you need 10 of them to UOC a unit, and they're 5,000 apiece. So, again, that's kind of steep price, in my opinion. The 5-star EX ticket's bait because it's random and you could pull Delita for 5k coins. It's not worth it. The pots, not really worth it. I mean, if you're real desperate, maybe, but again, it's probably not worth it. Same thing goes for the cactars and the snappers.
Yep.
If you're real desperate, maybe I could see it being worth it. But as a normal thing, no. Just right now, trade your units in
and save those coins.
Free up some space in your inventory and save them. Save them for however long it takes for them to put the limited prisms into the mixer system.
Yep, I mean, the only thing that I see that could be useful is if you're poor and you're trying to make 7-stars and you have some in your inventory, then maybe go for the Gil Snappers because they are the 1 million Gil Snappers.
Yeah, they're the.
But other than that, the other stuff can easily be put off.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, again, you can always farm gold during the weekends. Gil Snapper show up every weekend.
Yeah.
So,
or you could, during the week of the pot that you need, you could just play the arena that week and get the pots, get more than enough pots.
Yeah, as long as you're not in a hurry, I would say,
Yeah.
you can always
I
pass
mean, and
on the
honestly,
items.
there's no real reason to ever be in a hurry in this game.
Yep.
I mean, you can always wait a week or two to push. You don't have to beat every trial the day they come out. I know a lot of people like to do that, but I mean, again, you can play the game at your own pace. You don't need to.
Yep.
I'm
It's
definitely one of
just
those.
This game is a game of patience, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
let's move on. I would say to the other new features that we got. We got some two new features. One is a new expedition. This is a new expedition that's added to the
Mhm.
other 4 expeditions that we have.
Yep.
And this one is considered a D rank. I'm not sure if maybe in the future we might have actually increases like a C rank or higher. But
Maybe.
maybe that might. But what's unique about this is that it's 100% guaranteed, like you don't expedition, and you get a little bit of trust at the end of it for all the units that you carry. And it's also been verified that these units that you do select will stay in there unless you change them, so you can basically start farming up units at a reasonable rate. You can do them 3 times a day. Each of them is 4 hours long, and that'll get you about 0.6 trust out of the units, which is not
4 and
bad.
5-star. 3-star, it's a little bit more. It's like 0.9.
Yeah, but you can basically like use this to kind of finish off any units you have, or it's pretty useful depending on what you're trying to get. All right, and finally we also have we have some new trophies in there. We
Yes.
have these are trophies that go with the new Nemesis trials that we've been getting. So things that you do normally do within the trials of the game, you're getting new emblems to go with these trophies as well, so you can pin them, to kind of show them off. But one of the main new thing is we have 2 new rings that came in there.
Yep.
Do you want to show those rings or what they do, or how
Uh,
we can?
well, I don't think we should show the rings because I can't find images of them, but we can tell you what they do. The ring of Bayuka, or Byaki, or I can't.
Byakua.
Byakua? Yeah, I can't pronounce it. Sorry. I'm terrible at.
I'd have to look at it to actually see it, and I could probably.
I think it's called Byako.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's Byako.
Is it Byako?
And and based on the Japanese that I know, the 2 K's together, you usually have a stress, so it's like Byako, like that. So it's Byako, right? Right?
I had a Japanese girlfriend for years. I still can't speak a word of it.
All right. So what does it give you?
If I remember correctly, the Byako ring was the one that gave 20% MP, 20% attack, and 20% magic, which is it's okay.
It's okay. It's not that great. It's all right.
It's
also
for
someone starting out, I guess.
It also has a little bit of defense and spirit on it, like 7 flat. Just letting you know. All right, and you get the recipe, by the way, from clearing. Once you get 90 trophies, you get this the ability to craft this, and for you to craft it, you have to have 3 monarch rings, 3 domination rings. Sorry, that's a big domination rings, and 3 ruler rings, along with 20 lightning megacris and 20 wind megacris with 10,000 gil. Right, that'll get you one of these. I think it's okay. It's probably one of the better quote unquote free hybrid type rings I think we have. But we have TMRs that are pretty much better than this at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think an
Yep.
easy example would be maybe Jiraiya's
Jiraiya or
Trust Master
Noctis.
or Noctis. Yeah.
Well, the only
And
Yeah.
real benefit the Byaku ring, or again, however you say it, is that it does have the MP. A lot of rings don't have the combination of those three. So if
yeah.
you're using a really heavy like MP usage character, then the 20% MP will be nice. So it's not terrible, but there are better options for damage because that's usually what you'll focus on.
Yep. And the
This
second ring that
is
we get at getting less trophies, 80 trophies actually. The other one was 90 trophies. This one you get before that one is the Genbu ring.
wee.
Yeah. Now
I found
you
an
want
image
to
of it. Ah, dang it. Um,
you want to run through the Genbu ring?
so
Yeah, this is
the Genbu ring's
fantastic.
actually really nice. There we go. Let's zoom that up. Yeah, sorry. It's what I got right now. It's 20% HP, 20% defense, and 20% spirit. That's fantastic. It's better than most TMR rings.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
For tanks and supports. Yeah.
Supports. The only thing that would make anything this better, in my opinion, is if it did have LB fill rate of some sort, because that would make it really good for supports. There are other rings I would rather use on more supports because of the LB fill rate, but this makes your unit just survivable. I mean,
Very survivable.
and it's easy to make. It's exactly the same as the Byaku ring, and it's good.
It's very good.
All right. So these are basically just the two new rings that we get. It's much better than what we had before. So I'm honestly I'm grateful for this extra stuff.
Yep. And I think that's
Um,
actually global exclusive. I don't think JP had that stuff.
I don't remember JP having it. No.
I know that JP has the emblems, but I don't think that JP has these
The
rings.
new ones. I don't think they
No,
have the new ones we got. I don't think
I
they
don't.
have the Nemesis emblems. I think
I
they
don't.
just have the first
I
set.
don't even think they had the old rings. I don't think they had those rings at all. Correct me if I'm wrong, Awesome, but I can't recall seeing any, domination dominion ring of any kind.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah,
They had it at
yeah, they
JP.
had that stuff.
Okay.
They were just
All
as
right.
rare in global as they are in JP because the mats to drop for the domination or dominion. I don't remember which one it is.
Domination.
Domination. Those
No.
were stupidly hard to get. They're so
Mhm.
rare that it's just pointless even trying. You just kind of cross your fingers and say, "Give it,
Yeah.
gimme, gimme,
All right.
gimme."
So, the last thing that I want to talk about is some. I left it for last because it's sort of up in the air still, and that's the account binding feature, where you can change your social account from Facebook to a Google account. And the reason why it's sort of up in the air at the moment is because one, it's pretty. The DApp update just recently came in, so
The game is
it's
buggy as all hell.
yeah, there's a lot of small patches and stuff being done at the
Yeah.
moment,
So,
and
in all honesty, stay away from it for now. That's, I think, the best advice I can give anybody.
Don't risk it.
Yeah. And also, from what I've seen, on Reddit, there are people saying that if you use Amazon coins and you bind your account to Google, your Amazon accounts won't work, meaning you can't buy stuff with Amazon coins anymore.
That doesn't
So
sound right
also,
to me, or it might just be a bug. But right now, I wouldn't risk
just
it.
keep that in mind if you buy Amazon coins. For now, wait until you get a confirmation that you're not going to get screwed over, basically.
yep. So let's move on to maybe the weekly FFE news. What we're getting, what units, what events that we're getting. So
Yep.
Do you want to start
yeah,
with the
we are
enhancements of the units?
Sure.
of the old units,
Yeah.
the things.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's go to the units that are gonna be awakened. Do you have them up?
Yep, it's up now.
All right. There we go. So yeah, we have first what? Okay. All right. So first of all, we have Cloud, Elfrida, Chow, and Aang, which we're going to talk about in more detail. But I mean, what we see here, what do you guys think about Cloud's enhancements? And
They make him
and-
more viable, but he's still a finisher with no other redeeming features, so I find it really hard to put him in your party.
Yep, agreed. I mean,
Uh,
again, they make him better, but they don't make him good.
I mean, the only thing that I think is redeeming about Cloud, I would say at the moment, is that if you went in on the Kingdom Hearts banner and you got one Cloud or one Sora, they have a chaining partner. You know, so that's the only redeeming
Yeah.
feature I would say.
I wouldn't call that a redeeming feature. I'd call that just
There. It's
Yeah.
just there.
I would probably find other units because we're at 7-star meta, so it'd be really hard to find a reason to use just Cloud. Yeah. I really like Cloud. I like my Kingdom Hearts Cloud more, but that's because he looks way cooler. But
And he's way better.
the biggest benefit to him right now is the fact that if you were going to use him, you don't have to build him for status ailments, and he's fairly survivable. But again, all he's really good at doing is finishing. So if you're going to have him in your team, that's all he's going to do, and it just doesn't make him that great. It makes him kind of just okay.
Mediocre. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're finishing like nowadays, it probably might be more beneficial to use, I don't know, a Dragoon type unit or something.
I'd say
Oh,
someone with killers. Killers make finishers much stronger, much quicker. So
well,
like
that's what a lot of the Dragoons are kind of known for, you know.
that's true. All right, well, let's move on to Elfrida then, since again,
Yeah, since Cloud isn't anything that special this time around. I mean, he does get to build his LD a bit faster, but that's, you know. What about Elfrida? Based on her enhancements and stuff, at the moment,
That's how I feel.
at best,
she's better in arena.
Yeah. That's about it.
Well, yeah, her 7-star form has been sort of pushed into arena, and that's kind of all it's better at still. It's not really a unit that you might want to use. Her break is still pretty low in the meta. I mean, her one really cool feature was that she could provoke as well as break, but it's still too low to be considered useful, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Well, the
no,
biggest
I mean-
problem is she's not survivable when she does that as well, because she has no mitigation on that break or that provoke. There's no mitigation. So what you're doing is you're basically telling her to take all the hits without a shield, without any defensive capabilities really. The only thing she has going for her are her HP bonuses.
Yeah.
And
So she
a
does
pitiful
get
break.
beefy, but not enough to take like all
Full
the hits.
damage. Full damage.
Yeah.
Like the reason why Wilhelm and Sieghart are like the top tier, and Ramza is because they have mitigations that are very good.
Yeah.
If she
Yep,
had,
yep.
if she got mitigations on her provoke, I could see her being used, even if her provoke is not the greatest, or not her provoke, her break. But if it had mitigation, like if they gave it 50% mitigation or 40 or 30 even, she might be viable. But without the mitigation on her provoke, she's to me pointless.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean,
Still super
Her
annoying
ice-
in arena.
She's bad. She's bad. She's bad.
yeah. Yeah. Yep. And yeah, that's all I think we can really say about her. Now let's get into the two a lot of people have been waiting for. Let's get into Aang. And Aang got some really strong enhancements, I would say, to his attack power, which is what he's known for, being a very strong finisher
Yep.
with very useful killers, I think.
The only thing I can say looking at him is, where is his true double hand?
Oh yeah, for
Doesn't
somebody
he have this on though, or no?
he uses bows, so he should have true double hand.
I thought he had it in his kit normally.
Does he? Sorry. I don't really use Aang that much, or at all, because I don't have him.
Yeah, I
But
don't have any.
they didn't give him any bonus to his true double hand in this. So if he
Okay, so
No, but he could easily be getting it in his 7-star. That's the
that
thing.
is,
yeah,
that is very true.
we are getting his 7-star form soon, along with Chow. So I almost am certain we're gonna get his true double hand skills because he is
I mean,
in
he's
all
got
of his stuff.
100% in his kit.
Yeah, and he does get a lot of more. He's more survivable. He has more resistance to elements. He gets stronger killers for especially birds and dragons, which are not that common, but are still something really great to have. And he gets a stronger imperil, 75% fire imperil, which is really good. Although we do have a lot of fire damage dealers, I would say, in global at the moment.
There are better
Like,
imperilers, but 75% on a skill that requires no setup or it's not a cooldown is really nice, and he also comes with very good breaks. 60% is not bad. It's pretty good.
Yep.
I mean, when you consider the top tier is 70 or
And that's
75.
without his 7-star. You don't know what he's gonna get at 7-star either.
So
yeah.
if I were to look at Aang and say I want to make him better, I would probably focus on the first two abilities just because they're just going to make him appear stronger, and see what abilities he gets for 7-star before I bother with the other two.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, agreed. Because they could turn him into a breaker.
Yeah.
That
and
would
if
make
they do
that'd be
that,
awesome.
That would make him pretty freaking strong. I mean,
I mean,
someone with that much power, finishing wise, and they're able to break, is really, really strong.
honestly, I do like because we do have combination of damage dealers and breakers like Lauren and right now Auron this week. But a breaker who is a finisher is probably really good to have because if you
Honestly, it's probably better. He'd probably be better than Auron.
yeah, because like the person who's gonna break usually is not gonna be chaining at the same time. So usually the person who's breaking is gonna be waiting to do something. So having them finish is really one of the most optimal positions that they can be in. So
Yeah.
if he does turn into a breaker, that's really, really good.
Especially for a finisher, if they turn him into a breaker, I mean, again, you're getting tons of extra damage from a unit that would be breaking for you.
Yeah, he's one of the few finishers that I would probably keep in my party. And if
Yep.
they gave him breaks, because he's already extremely strong, because he can imbue himself, he can imperil what he can imbue, and he can do decent breaks. So
Yeah, and
he has
basically a
and the
breaker is
killers.
necessary,
Yep.
and a
And
breaker with a secondary role of potentially being a finisher is really powerful, in
yeah.
my opinion.
Yep. And I think maybe later on when we do get like CG Sid, who also breaks and finishes, why he's so powerful as well. So this is like, a really good introduction into that. All right, so let's go on to the good boy, Chow, which is a fan favorite, I would say, who is known as a magic tank, who that can also be double as a healer. And he has really good mitigation, and he gives a lot of MP back to the unit. What do you think about his enhancements?
they're okay.
His passives are really good. His active abilities are really bad. I would enhance his passives 100% for sure.
Oh
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
leave his active abilities, his 2 buffs, don't even bother doing them at all. There's no reason anybody would want to do them. 100% buff
Well,
is not good enough.
the only reason would be is if it's not terribly expensive and you would love to have 4 turns without having to worry about stop resistance or charm resistance. That's the only reason I would see you doing that.
I mean, they are cheap. I already looked at them. They are cheap, but I don't know. I don't think it's worth it for 1 extra turn. 2 turns maybe, but 1 turn,
honestly,
100% buff is not that great.
I use Chow because he does have like passively I put him on my farming party because he he gets that gil bonus, as well as he also gets that he gets rare item rate up, right? So I put him in my usually in my farming party, and usually in my farming party I don't carry a buffer, so just having him as a side buffer is nice, and I kind of want to keep him that way. So I'm fine with his small buffs. That's good because I don't usually carry a buffer. It's fine. It's fine. It's cheap and it's fine. So I don't see a problem with it. It's not expensive. It's almost like it's worth the cheap, feature to do it. In terms of slot efficiency. Everything else is, I think they just made him a lot beefier, and I can't wait to see what he's gonna look like in a 7-star form.
Yeah, I
honestly.
mean, I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with the 7-star because you really don't know. You get zero insight on what they're gonna do with his 7-star from his enhancements.
Yep.
I mean, because even if they were like they want to make him into a buffer, I mean, they made him into a crappy buffer in my opinion. So.
I agree, though. I wish they would have made it 5 turns, because with 4 turns in a rotation, 4 turns is kind of weird because we're so used to 2 and 3 turn things. So if you're going to deal with like a 3-turn thing, you would still have to basically do strong encouragement or improve focus every 3 turns to keep in line with your other buffs.
And you can't forget that these skills aren't dual castable.
At least right now.
Right now, we might.
I don't think he's gonna get dual cast.
Who knows? Right now, I'm just saying.
Yep.
We'll see what happens, but right now it's not.
Usually, so far there's been a pattern in the game where if people do break or buffs, like partial breaks or buffs, they usually can get the full thing on their LB or a cooldown. So like an all break and all buff.
Yeah, I mean, he could get a buff that's decent on cooldown, and that'd be great. It's still not going to use improve focus or strong encouragement.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
but like most breakers and stuff, they have weaker breaks that you don't use, so that's fine.
I mean, the main problem with Chow for enhancement purposes is he really has no skills to enhance. He's got his cover, he's got his ability that gives him re-raise, and I don't really see how you can make that upgrade his re-raise to what, instead of it being 80% HP.
I thought maybe, I thought maybe they would take away the randomness of it and just made it. That's basically.
And then Guardian Sacrifice is absolute trash. You don't ever want to use his ability.
It's pretty
so
bad.
that leaves his improved focus and strong encouragement.
All right, so the other units. I think Yan, if you don't have any other units, she is a really strong 4-star. Like
even if you have other units, she's extremely strong because she has re-raise on her LB with elemental resistance at 66%.
Yep. She has very strong elemental resistance. She gets a lot of good passives to make her more survivable. She gives LB, MP, and limit burst gauge.
With
HP,
with the first 2 enhancements that they gave her, the kindness rain and the golden pearl tenacity, those 2 make her good. She was okay before because all she would do is basically wait for her limit burst to get up before, because 20 MP 1 turn is not great. You could get 40 if you dual cast it, but it's still not great. 100% fill rate's nice, but it's not usually that as noticeable as you would like to see it. And then 2000 HP, especially in the 7-star meta, is like, oh, you want 5% of your health back?
Yeah.
But now with it being doubled, I mean, dual casting 4000 HP is actually kind of like 50% of a tank now.
Yeah.
Or LB fill rate 200%. That's, especially since you're going to be focusing on her LB, is great. And then 40 MP, I mean, it's better, but 40 MP is just not that great still, in my opinion. But
you can dual cast it.
Again, it's except for caster, which makes it kind of harder for her.
Yeah, it's
I don't.
the worst version of dedication.
Yeah, but I don't think that she had much problems with MP, if I recall. She didn't have.
No, but I
No,
mean, again, uh, you're just uh, you're she's gonna be very, very niche if you're ever gonna use her.
I would use her
Um,
in situations where I expected to die and I needed resistances. So I
Yep.
find, and she's actually a good support or backup healer slash MP regen slash LB fill rate. She's basically a secondary character that would be good to have alongside a healer, a good
Yep.
healer.
Are any of the other units
Nope.
that's being worth talking
I
about?
mean,
Not really.
you got Verum, which nope. You've
Honestly,
got
Varun
Yuri.
came out at a time where he was probably useful, but he fell off really quickly.
Well,
In my
he just can't do anything other than help other people, and it's people usually use this TM if they did use it. But because it was an accessory, it made it even harder to find a use for it. Then you've
yeah,
got Yuri, which she gets bonuses to her 2 frames, which, I mean, Tornado and Quake, they're fine, but the thing is her stats are terrible because she's a 3-star
yeah,
unit. So
I mean, the rest of these units are not very good. They're all
Miyuki,
low.
she gets extra stats to her, but she's still just got low base stats, so it's just really hard to find a party for her. It's just better just to not worry about it.
Yeah, or just not use her at all.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, 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 no,
Miyuki.
no. There is no reason anybody should be using Miyuki. Okay.
No, not Miyuki.
They're, like,
I was talking about Yuri. Yuri actually, if she changed with Tornado, she basically joined Dora
again,
and
it's a 3-star unit in the 7-star meta. It's totally useless.
It's really
yeah,
hard to find a spot for her because she's just too weak.
yeah. All right, let's talk about the new units that are coming this week. First of all, let's talk about, actually, I was gonna start with Brother first.
Oh, you want
The
to start with?
yeah, the weaker of the unit.
Yeah.
All right, Brother, then Belgiumine.
There you go, brother. Okay.
Again, he's a TM fodder. I mean,
I don't even think his
TM's
TM's
not
good.
bad. Okay, his TM is niche, but if you have if it's 20 attack, 20 defense, water resistance 30%, in blind. I think the key there is the water resistance. If you are in a fight where you need water resistance, it doesn't hurt your attacker as much. You can grab water resistance with this and still have some attack. So
Yeah,
that's
and it does
basically that.
remove blind, but still, I don't really. I probably will never use it, and I don't really see a whole lot of people using it either.
I mean,
So
other than that, the unit is garbage. It's a 3-star to 5-star.
if I
its name and its
remember
abilities are cool.
if I remember correctly, he does have a very nice passive with 40% physical evasion. So when I first started in
It's
JP,
30%.
30% and then 20%, 10% right here. See?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So he has 40% evasion base, so he's on the same level as Chizuru when she's enhanced. So when I was playing JP, I was having a really hard time because I started really late because I started around this time. And I had a hard time doing a lot of trials because you basically needed an evasion tank for a lot of them. Because it would take even more stuff to build a physical tank. And with his 40% evasion, it makes it easy to do that, but you still need Golem.
Yeah, you still need to get him a provoke.
Yeah.
But he's easy to build evasion. It's just the fact that you're only gonna be able to provoke evade. You can't AoE
So
evade.
there you go. If you're new to the game and you want to build an evasion unit, he's probably a decent option.
If I was
know?
going to choose, I would choose Chizuru, but she costs money and Chris, so I don't know if that works for you. Because
that's what I mean.
she does damage, and he's kind of just there.
He doesn't do shit. He's terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, just being a 3 to 5-star makes him It just makes him god awful. There's no reason to use him.
Again, like I
All
said, I used him as an evasion tank for a while in JP, and it was actually very useful because of his base evasion.
All right, so let's talk about the other unit, Belgiumine.
Yep.
Right. So as we can see, she is a evoker.
Yeah, magic damage dealer, similar
magic-
to Ridias, sort of. I mean, as in she's a mage that does summon damage too.
Yep. And she
Um,
is unlike most 4-star units, she is pretty strong. She's
Yeah,
like a 5, pretty much very close to a 5-star.
Well, she has the flexibility like you would expect from a 5-star. But I
Yeah.
mean, first let's talk about this TM, man. 40% magic, 10% Evo Mag.
that's pretty good.
Nice. That
Yeah,
is
this is-
spicy.
This is a slightly weaker version of Ridia's, but it's very
Yeah.
strong still.
Well, no,
Ridia's-
Ridia's is 20% Spirit and
And
10%
Evo.
Ava. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I forgot about the Evo Magic on Ridia's, but still, my gosh. It's
Pretty
for
good.
4-star, that's pretty dang good. Especially if you decide to pull for any of these units, you're probably going to get a few of her. So,
Yep. Let's see what else she has in her kit. She
So-
has
her flexibility comes from her Elemental Divine Runation Chaining.
Yep.
wow.
She's got 3 elements for Divine Runation
Right.
Chaining,
Fire, lightning, and ice.
which means
Wow.
Really good.
she fits in with one of the biggest families in the game.
Yep.
Yep.
What I also noticed is that she's gonna be doing this in magic form, not physical form. So
Well, it's also
Um,
AoE too, so
whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
So
That's pretty
it's similar to Citra and Veritas Light with this ability, but it
Yeah.
still will chain with
big. Single target.
single
ones.
target units. But yeah,
This is really, really good. I mean, her mods are not the best.
you're just
Uh,
using her to do the chain. You're
Yeah,
not you're not using her for her damage.
She's still pretty good for 4-star.
Yep. And this is, I believe, the first ever ice chainer. Oh, wait. Her abilities reduce the opposite element. It
Oh, yeah, they do.
decreases. Yeah, like fire decreases ice, ice decreases fire. Oh, ooh.
Yeah, that does hurt a bit, but still, you're not probably. In my opinion, the biggest thing that hurts is the fact that you can't just equip a weapon on her and be that element. So you have to find someone who's gonna have a fire divine runation chain, which I guess if you're going with a Heo partner, that's not a big deal.
Same thing with the lightning.
Yeah, it's just a pity that because you probably would want to find a similar, like if she's doing magic damage, you want to find a magic damage, right? Who's doing the same family?
No, it doesn't matter because a
It doesn't
chain is a
matter as
chain.
much because most of the time you're gonna break, and most of the time most enemies from like now have very close spirit and defense. So going in with a magic attacker and a physical attacker isn't exactly a horrible idea.
Nope.
Okay.
The other thing that's nice is she actually has some nice evocation, like her LB increases evocation by 5.
Yeah.
And it's cheap. It's 20 crystals. So, I mean, it's not as good as, for example,
Garnet.
Garnet. Garnet's is better for getting evocation, but she can chain with other people, so I feel like that makes her quite a bit better.
Yeah.
What else does she have in her kit that's noteworthy?
Not really much else.
Nothing else. I
She
mean,
can do what most summoners can do, which is evocate any of the espers that's equipped on the party. She has a bonus of 20% in her
Evo
kit,
match.
but I mean that's pretty. That's actually
that's
not very
it.
good at all. Like, thinking about it, like if I remember correctly, Garnet has like 70 in her kit,
Yeah, something like that, 60 or 70.
so she's really weak in that case. But she has multiple ways of getting her evocation gauge up. It's more her skills that are her redeeming feature, not her passives. So you've
Right.
got the fact that you can dual summon everything except for 200 years of study, apparently. But this one will increase her magic, which you probably don't care about. Increase modifiers for these skills that you probably don't care about, truthfully. But it
Well,
all
you would want to do this before doing her chaining because it does buff her and it does give her higher mods to the moves.
the problem is it's for 2 turns, and you have to count the turn that you cast it.
Well, I guess this is like the easiest way to. This is sort of like a cooldown ability, in a sense, but on a 4-star unit. Like the closest thing to, I would say.
If
It's not bad.
if this was a 3 or 4 turn, I would find more use for it. But in my opinion, other than the fact that it also increases evocation gauge, it's really bad because a
Okay.
1 times modifier for 2 turns, that's just. I guess it turns it into a 8 times 8 times instead of 6 times, which I guess is not awful, but still, it's for 1 turn you'll be able to do it. Only 1 single turn, so you'll have to use 200 years of study every other turn to keep
Yeah,
it
you're
up.
right.
So
All right.
it's not good.
All right. Let's move on to the big boys of the banner. Let's move on to let's go into Jecht.
Yeah, so his TMR is a materia that is 20% HP, 20% MP, and increase 50% when equipped with a great sword. That's a fantastic materia. His Super Trust Mastery is the Iconic Sword. It's a 176 attack great sword with increased LB fill rate 100%. So that's also very, very good.
I would love this on my Lauren.
Pretty good
Oh
on
yeah,
anybody.
yeah. This is really cool, and is
Now,
mhm.
what Jecht brings to the table, I guess, is he's a quick hit in Divine Ruination Chainer with the ability to triple cast. So this is very good for Kurasame users, at least, because he can
Mhm.
finally have someone to chain with.
I mean,
Oh, and his
triple
stuff
cast
is
chain.
yeah, and his all his abilities are backloaded too, like Hio's attacks.
Ooh, that makes him really strong.
Yeah. So he's a decent attacker, except the only problem with him really is he's gonna get power crept in the future.
Well, the biggest benefit to him, like for example, other than like for example Kingdom Hearts Cloud, with his
Yeah.
because Kingdom Hearts Cloud has more base damage than Jecht does, but Jecht can imbue himself with water.
Yep.
Also decrease water resistance by 75% at least with his Divine Ruination chain,
Mm-hmm.
which is much better than it was in JP because it was at 50% in JP, or is it 60% in JP? 60%,
60%.
which is still good, but 75% is great for just being able to do it right out of the gate.
Yeah.
The only thing is with him and Kurosame, you're gonna probably want to put an element on him or Kurosame.
Jecht.
Well,
Um,
Kurosame does his affinity is with ice and water, more ice than water, but he can work with him, I think.
Yeah, the
yeah,
only problem with him is he doesn't like you can use like he can use water abilities, but they're not quick hit frames.
Mhm.
So
yep. So you have to put an
you
actual water
water,
weapon,
yeah,
or you're gonna have to constantly imbue himself. But it is a 5-turn imbue, so it's not. It's good. 5 turns is very nice to have.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, my only thing with Kurasame and Jecht in quick hit is quick hit sucks.
I also don't like quick hit, but I know that a lot of people.
I'm sorry, quick hit absolutely sucks. It's the
It's the
worst chaining
training
family
frame, yeah.
because it is totally unreliable. So
It's
take
very
that
inconsistent.
with a grain of salt. He's strong. He's gonna do a lot of damage.
The one thing I wonder about Jecht is because he is a chainer and has 2 chaining families that are very viable. Why is he a finisher too? I I'm sorry, but are you gonna put 3 chainers in your party so you can actually chain up for him to finish? Because that seems like it'd
No,
be a waste.
I guess the
Yeah.
idea would be to have another Divine Ruination chainer support, like maybe a Rena type person, so that he could take a turn off the finish. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but I guess it's available if you want to. His
I mean,
finishing
can he
is.
finish his own chains? Maybe, I don't know.
I don't think he can dual cast with his finisher abilities. His finisher ability is the cooldown Otherworlder, and he also has his LB.
I think maybe he can. If
No, he can't. He can't.
oh,
no,
and
he can't.
it's only available on turn 8. That's really hard.
Oh, look at the cost.
Oh, wow.
But it is an
That's
18 times
18x.
modifier. 18 times
That's-
modifier is really strong though.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at his finishing, I would look more at his LB, which is 16 times modifier to all
Yeah,
enemies.
and it enables triple cast too.
So just imagine having two of the girls that we were just talking about. I can't remember her name anymore. Benny. I'll just call her Benny. Have two of her chain up right off the bat, AoE chain, and then have him finish.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
mainly he's just a plain Jane attacker who's
Yeah.
not much different. He's got both true double hand and true dual wield in his kit, so he's flexible in that way. Obviously, currently he's going to be stronger as a true double hand unit, but yeah, I mean, he's got killers for bird, beast, and demons, which is pretty good.
He does synergize with Titus in that sense, so
You.
Actually, he works much better than Titus because it's much easier to get his triple cast.
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, like he's with the killer abilities, it's kind of to work with Titus. That's what I mean. He can work with Titus.
I know,
Similarly.
but the only reason that he's kind of off of Kurosame in a sense is because he doesn't start with triple cast.
Yeah.
At least I don't think he did. Double check. I'm not crazy. Yeah, no, he doesn't start with triple cast. So
Yeah.
if I was going to be training him with Kurosame, I probably wouldn't bother using Kurosame's TMR. But that's just
Well,
me.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you have for for accessories.
True. But yeah, having
Kurosame's TMR is pretty good.
it is, but again, if he's going to start with triple cast and then it's going to throw off this energy between the two of them.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not like overwhelmed. I'm not wowed by him. He's okay, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty. Yeah, I mean,
He's a good damage dealer with triple cast.
Yep.
Can't really complain.
Can't complain. And he's backloaded chain, so he's pretty strong, you know.
He's stronger than Hio, I think, right now.
Yes.
Yep.
Not by
Okay.
much, but he is.
So let's go on to the star of this banner. I would say
Auron.
Auron. Ballin' Auron.
Yep.
His
yeah,
TMR is amazing.
Yep.
Two of the
Hell,
worst
Guardian.
things to ever run into, Confuse and Petrify, are on this TMR with 6% attack.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because Confuse and Petrify are awful to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing I will add in there is that because we're going into the katana, I would say meta.
Is it
With
really a meta when it's only really one unit?
the...
I mean,
Well,
really.
It's two, but yeah.
Well, he is one of them, right?
Just
I guess.
because Axstar is amazing.
Well,
Does
Sep-
it really change? Like, I mean, come on.
Sephiroth also gets really high up there because he gets
But that's
his enhancements.
Really far off.
Well, I think he got it right before Axstar, if I remember correctly. He got his enhancements on JP.
You also got to realize we're like 4 months behind on enhancements too.
That's true. But who
Well,
knows?
it's still-
It's
I mean,
Sephiroth.
we might even be more than 4 months behind on enhancements.
Yeah.
Hey, we do have units like 2B that are pretty strong that could take advantage of this. All right.
That's true.
This is.
Really? Like, I mean, because her TM is pretty garbage, and if you're using her for a breaker, you're not doing damage, and if you're using her
No, you can
as
still
a
do damage.
dealer,
You can still do damage when she's a breaker. It's just you're doing dual wield instead of
Then
double
again-
hand.
Then again, you could just use Auron and then
Right.
because they're both similar in that sense, right?
Yeah.
They're both katana users who are breakers, strong breakers. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So
I guess. I mean,
what
his
about
STMR is Masamune. Is well, they call it a katana, but it's definitely not a katana.
it? Looks nothing like a
It looks
katana.
like a great sword, honestly. But yeah, it's a katana with 184 attack and 30% MP. Pretty
It's okay.
solid. Yeah, I mean, it's not like
It's not
the
special.
best thing ever. It's
Yep.
pretty good.
Yep. What about? Let's move on to the juicy part. What's in his kit?
He's
Breaks.
a breaker.
And
he can dual cast his single target breaks like that. He's got the single breaks for 60%, so he can do defense, spirit, magic, and attack to a single enemy at 60%, and you can dual cast all those.
The mods are low, but it's still pretty good because
Yeah, that breaks that you can do whenever.
basically this is quite similar to
Yeah.
I would say Lid. The only difference is Lid does it for 5 turns.
well,
Yeah.
also Led can't dual cast it until 7-star.
Right.
Yeah.
And he can dual cast it at 6, and he can dual cast his other abilities at 6 too. His two, I mean, noteworthy chaining abilities are AT frames, and they reduce fire and wind resistance respectively. There's 2 of them, and they do, one does fire physical damage and decreases fire resistance. The other one does wind damage and decreases wind resistance. Those are very good for just helping chain up.
Yep.
And this
AT
is
frame.
this is the up and coming family chainer, so it's good to have him.
Yep. And usually the AT is known for being a bit stronger than DR in terms of the effects or mods that they do.
Yeah.
So right now the imperils are small, but I'm pretty sure when he does get enhanced, these will increase. Or maybe the mods themselves, but it is pretty handy to have these chaining.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason the AT family is kind of weaker than the DR family right now is because of the fact that the DR family is backloaded. At least some of the newer units are.
Yep.
The AT family does not do that.
No.
Okay.
But the AT family stacks, if anything.
Yep, usually.
Yeah.
All right.
But his 7-star abilities are where he really gets strong. Because his first cooldown ability allows him to turn 1 break for 70%, while at the same time buffing the party for 140%. Now that's basically where he becomes the best breaker, in my opinion. Because if he didn't have the buff, he'd basically just be Lauren that chains with a different family.
Yep. And this,
but I mean, with this buff, makes him amazing.
Break and buff.
The thing that makes him useful, because since he can't buff any other time, is he's a very good unit to work with characters that don't have buffs initially. So, for example, Zargaboth or stuff like that, you could avoid using his certain cooldowns in the first turn. You could use his other cooldowns, so you could stack the 2 best cooldowns right off the bat for the most part.
Yep.
Or, for example, if you're using a healer like Rena, which just came out, she doesn't have anything in the beginning unless you can manage to get her LB fill right on the first turn.
Yeah, and it's expensive too, so.
Yeah, I wish they didn't raise it so much.
Mumble,
gripe. Anyways.
Told you so. Just say I told you so on that one.
Suck it.
All right.
Anyways.
So he's very slot efficient, in my opinion, and he can also dish out very strong damage.
So the other
you can
thing
build him for true double hand pretty easily.
So the other thing that he gets as well is on his other cooldown, he gets triple cast for both his Bushido, which is Gnawing Flame and Hellstorm, and his other skills, which means you can get 3 breaks at 60%, which isn't as useful because you're probably not going to use God Killers at all. You're going to use the Bushido for more damage because not only does he break with that one skill, he has his LB, which is probably more what you're going to focus on.
Yep.
Because it's a freaking fantastic break. It's lid levels.
His LB,
Yeah. It's basically, actually, it's probably closer to Lauren levels.
It's
Because
basically Lauren's
with,
LB
with
without.
fire and wind instead of wind, light, and lightning.
Yeah.
And it's also not expensive, as in a Ren
That's
is.
only 30 crystals, so it's spammable.
Yeah.
At least enough where you'll have it by the third turn. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
his cooldown and his LB should be like offsetting each other perfectly. So unless you are playing something that doesn't give you LB crysts, which that would hurt. But
yeah.
Also does very
again,
strong damage. Does very strong damage, very strong imperils, and very strong breaks all at the same time.
Yep.
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 I mean, his
He's-
damage isn't as high as it looks because the fact that it is a 22 hit thing, and I don't know if anything it changes with other than itself. But still, that's an 18 times modifier. So
Yeah, I mean his damage is really good anyway because he's got pretty decent modifiers.
All right,
okay,
so
so this is the God Killer ability. Sorry, I got it mixed up. So Bushido is the triple arts for the damage, and then God Killer is another break,
ooh,
which is
70%.
70% to
Really
all
good.
enemies, but for only 2 turns. But it is a backup if you cannot manage to keep both of them up consistently.
Yep.
Yep. But at any point in time, you do always seem like you have the ability to break if you need. So
If you
I think
if you don't have the ability to do the LB, you will have 1 turn off of breaks
yep,
initially.
yeah.
But if you do it right, then you won't.
All right, so I think we got all of the units covered pretty much. I think all of them are really nice this time around. Auron is very, very valuable. I would say he's worthy of a UOC ticket if you are looking for an extremely slot efficient unit that can do a lot of damage and buff and break at the same time. So let's move on to the event that we're having at the moment, the King Mog event. All right. You wanna take this one, Kuj?
Yeah. So basically, it's your regular King Mog. You are gonna want to pull for some bonus units. We're getting a new feature. Well, 2 new features for this King Mog event. We're getting Moogle maps and a 5-star guaranteed, basically ticket. I guess is how it is.
Mm-hmm.
It was data mined that it's going to be 70k currency. That is different how it was in JP. In JP, you had to log in every day, do 1 mission for 8 days, and you'd get the ticket. It's 70k here. I mean, you'll be able to get it faster, but again, it adds to the total of currency that you're going to need to finish the event.
Yep.
So take that with a grain of salt, I guess. The materials from the event actually kind of interest me because they are attack with Demon Killer and magic with Demon Killer. I would say pick those up. Those are going to be very strong. The equipment, if you're a new player, the equipment's fine. Other than that, it's the same as it usually is.
Well, Jecht's Gauntlet is actually fairly good. It's similar to Hio's Glove, was it? Hio's Gauntlet?
Yeah.
Because it gives a little bit of attack and defense, and then it gives a percentage increase, which in this case is 20%. I think it's 20% on Hio's as well. And then if you're new, this is something you want. You're going to want this if you are new and you do not have consistent breakers or breakers in general. Because what this will do is you put this on your tank, and when he hits hit, by physical or magical, he has a chance of breaking all stats by 30%, or 35%, which might not sound amazing, but
It's better than nothing.
better than nothing. And if you don't have to waste turns doing it, even better.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
And there's a UOC in this event too, so don't forget about that.
I think that's going to be a consistent thing. I hope it's not the 100,000, especially since they're adding the 5-star ticket in there.
Yeah, I really do hope that it's not as expensive.
We'll see.
I'm hoping that they move to what JP does, where they have EP points, event points, where you get that while you do the event instead of either or. Because in the beginning they did start with you logged in every day and you did a mission, and you had to just do it 8 days, I think it was. And then when you got to the EP points, what they do is every time you run a mission, you get like 400 EP points if you did legendary, for example. And after you get about 30,000 or 50,000, I can't remember exactly because it's been a while since I quit JP. You would you'd be able to get that ticket, and it would just be given to you rather than having to either show up every day or having to buy it. Because I'm sorry, mod currency is getting harder and harder to keep up with, especially with these 5-star select tickets. They hurt.
Yep. So chances are you are pulling these units to as bonus units. So if you do pick up an Auron or you do pick up a Jecht, it's really not bad at all um, for future proof kind of units. They're really good. Yeah.
For
Even
me,
if you don't have a breaker, pull for Auron.
Oh
He's
yeah,
really good.
definitely. If you have the lapis or you have the tickets, and you don't have a strong picker, definitely go for him. He's definitely worth it.
so the notice I would have to say is because the 4-star banner is very good, even if you pull enough units to fill up a full team, basically, I would still at least try to get all the 4-stars, if not better, because she's extremely useful. You can basically TMR farmish while you're doing this event, and
Yeah.
she's just a good unit for
Yeah.
a beginner, especially.
And chances are you might be able to like just use 2 of her and chain up this event. You probably can get through the event with her.
It'll make it easier if
Um,
you have a friend finisher, like if you have a friend Jacked or a friend Auron, they'll be able to finish for her, which will make
Yep.
this event a lot easier.
Yep. One thing let's talk about is what about the step ups for these units? Would you say the step up is pretty good or pretty bad? Kuja.
Step up's fine. It's a normal 25k step up we're gonna see from now on.
Yep.
I mean, again, it's like if you want the units, go ahead do the step up. It's fine. If you're just pulling for units, go tickets. If you're pulling for banner units, just use tickets. Use.
Quick
10
question: is this the one where the third step is a Moogle, or is it a guaranteed 5-star that's random?
It's a guaranteed 5-star random one.
Okay.
Yep.
So for new players, I like these banners for new players because you guarantee 2 5-star units. But for more older players, I think this is not that good of a banner to pull on unless you really want Jecht or Auron, which if you're an older player, you might have Lauren or Kryla or 2B. And if you have those units, Auron's he's better in certain situations and not really necessary.
I would say he's better in most situations. It's just you don't need him.
Well,
Yep.
he's better in most situations if you have AT frame families. Or if you're not using AR chaining families. I mean, because if you have like Lilith and Lauren, I mean, those two chain together perfectly fine, and then you get a tank and a support chaining up for you to finish with someone else. I mean,
Yep.
it's situational. In my opinion, if you have one of those other ones, I probably wouldn't go for Auron. But that's my opinion because, I mean, he's in the UFC ticket, so if you manage to get one, you can always just use that to pull a second one. But he's just not a big enough jump for me to say go for it.
All right. So let's see if we can wrap things up. But what we'll discuss is just the rest of the events, the things that we have, and probably just a little bit miscellaneous stuff. Right. We do have a return of the current
Alexander. The Esper.
No. The God
Star
banner. Yeah, Star
the
Ocean.
Star Ocean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the challenge event. Defeat.
It's really easy.
Jar Revorce. Sorry if I butchered that name. Yeah, you just have to go in, probably slap machine killer. Not it's not a very strong boss, but
No,
it's
hopefully it gets reset for everybody who did it already. But
yeah. The item that you get for it though is pretty good for a new player. For attack, it's pretty decent. I think it's 15% attack and magic along with some other stats on it, so it's not bad. Pretty nice. Um, we do also have the Chamber of Arms trial, Sadel Sud, which we'll probably be writing doing a little trial guide for on Reddit. So be up for that later. Maybe along with Alexander Tree Star. So take a look for that. And also, one thing to look out for is we do have new daily login bonuses. This is after Fen Festa. Pretty good
yeah,
stuff
it
in there.
looks like it's gonna be the Chinese New Year ones. This is from the data mine.
Yeah, so we have really good stuff. And what's interesting is we also have some trust coins in there, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah,
Nothing to spend
don't spend them now
Right.
anyways. So
Yeah, I was gonna say there's nothing to spend them on now anyway, so it's
Just
like
keep
whatever.
collecting them. Just keep collecting them.
Yeah.
Did we cover more or less everything? I think we did.
I think we're good.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So I think that's all we got for now, guys. Thank you for joining us this week. And by the way, just keep in mind the game is still undergoing some patches and some updates. So be patient, and soon we'll be able to play a lot of this. All right. Well, thank you very much, and I think we'll see you soon.
Later.
Good night,
Have a great
everybody.
day.